Hi, I'm Katie from Riding Warehouse, and today I'm going to teach you how to lunge your horse safely. Lunging is a skill every equestrian should know, as it can be used for more than just warming up your horse or using training aids. You may need to lunge your horse for the vet to diagnose a lameness or to evaluate the horse's overall gait. To get started, let's go over the equipment we will need. For the rider, we will need closed-toed shoes, gloves, and if you wish, a helmet. For the horse, we will need a bridle or headstall, a lunge line, a lunge whip, and a saddle if you choose. If you do lunge with a saddle, I suggest either taking your stirrups off or rolling them down and crisscrossing them in front of your pommel. If you have a Western saddle, you can just leave them loose. For the bridle or headstall, make sure you either remove the reins or tie them up. To tie up the reins, take the right and the left rein and twist them together a few times. Then take the throat lash and put it through one of the loops you've made. I also recommend putting boots on your horse to protect them from interference. However, if you don't normally boot up your horse, this is not necessary. So there are a few ways that you can attach the lunge line to the bit. Today, I'm going to show you two ways that apply equal pressure to both sides of the bit. The first way is more traditional. You take your lunge line through the inside ring, up over the pole, making sure the line is flat and not twisted, and then attach it to the outside ring. Another way to attach the lunge line is to run the line through the inside ring, loop it around the bottom of the inside ring, and then run the line under the chin and attach it to the outside ring. If you're going to use a lunging attachment, you can clip the line directly to that, or if you're going to use a lunging cavesson, you can clip the line directly to the ring on the nose. Now that we've talked about where you're going to put the lunge line, let's talk about how you're going to hold it. The best way to hold the lunge line is to have it looped back and forth across the palm. This will prevent the line from binding around your hand in case your horse spooks or runs off. The excess line can be held in the same hand or your whip hand. I find it more comfortable in my whip hand, and it also gives you 2 points of contact, making the line safer. Now that you have all your equipment, it's time to find a place to lunge your horse. A round pen is always ideal as it gives you a natural circle and contains your horse in case they get loose. However, a round pen isn't always available, so lunging in an open space is good practice. Find an area that is flat with no obstacles in the way that will interfere with you or your horse. Ideally penned in case your horse gets away from you. Make sure that you have at least 30 feet of space to lunge so you can adjust the size of the circle your horse makes. Position yourself in the middle of the circle. Keep yourself there by pivoting on your heel instead of moving around or following your horse. The goal is for the horse to make accurate circles without falling in or out. There may be some situations where you may need to move, but I suggest returning back to pivoting once you have made your adjustments. In the case where you're working with a young or inexperienced horse, you may walk a smaller circle to encourage them to move forward. However, once they understand the forward pressure, work towards pivoting. Now that we are ready to lunge, let's talk about the 3 aids that we have to communicate with our horse. They are the lunge line, the lunge whip, and our voice. The lunge line is our physical connection with the horse and acts like the rein. Make sure that it does not go slack or drag on the ground, which is hazardous for both horse and rider. The line should feel like a bungee cord, meaning that you shouldn't feel constant pressure or no pressure at all. Think about having a connection where you can make a correction if needed and then release once the horse responds. The whip is a substitute for the rider's leg and should be accepted by the horse as an aid and not as a reason to run away. You can use the whip as pressure to move forward, to move out on the circle, or to even stop. Form a triangle with the horse, the lunge line, and the whip. To ask your horse to move forward, raise the whip up and position it towards their hindquarters. If the horse does not move forward, then switch the lash up and down without cracking it for more encouragement. If you need even more encouragement, flick the lash towards the horse's hocks. To have the horse move out on the circle, position the lunge whip towards their shoulder and ask them to move out with your voice. I prefer to use the term out in conjunction with the whip to move the horse out on the circle. You can even use the whip to slow them down by positioning it in front of their shoulder, stepping towards them, and using your voice. But please note that you should only use this technique with an experienced horse. The last aid is your voice, which works with the lunge line and the lunge whip. You can use your voice to ask the horse to walk, trot, canter, halt, or even move forward or slow down in the gait they are in. To do this, pick the terms you would like to use with your horse and keep to them. This way, your horse will always receive the same commands. When asking your horse to move from a slower gait to a faster gait, such as from the trot to the canter, you use a higher animated voice to give the command. Canter. You can use this higher tone command with the lunge whip to ask your horse to move forward into the upward gait. To bring your horse back down to a slower gait, use a lower tone which is drawn out when you give the command. Walk, walk, walk. You may need to use your lunge line with your voice to bring them down a gait. You can also use your voice to encourage the horse to move forward in the gait they are in. For example, I choose to cluck to ask my horse Brighton to move forward in the trot. Here are the terminologies I use for my horse when I lunge. And walk. Good boy. Walk on. And trot. Trot. Canter. Canter. And trot. And here, here, and ho, ho, ho. As you lunge, be sure to keep track of the time. Most horses don't need to be lunged more than 25 minutes, so plan accordingly. As you lunge, make sure that you give them a lot of walk breaks and you switch sides every 5 to 10 minutes. This will give them a good warm-up and good practice lunging to the left and the right. Thank you for watching this how-to video. For more how-to videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for all your lunging needs, please visit us at ridingwarehouse.com.